Senin orada olacak. Orada beni görürsen bak oradan bana.
Nerede olacaksın?
Senin sağ tarafında o.
Şurada mı?
Hı hı. Tel örgünün öbür tarafında orada duracağım.
O zaman sen burada duracaksan bana tur yaparsın.
You made already? Yes. Sorry. Everybody?
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Circuit Park here in Zandvoort. We are on the North Sea coast, looking over the glorious sand dunes of the Netherlands. What a great setting for this historic motor racing circuit here. And we are ready for the next race in the Porsche Carrera Cup Germany. It's meeting number 5 of 8, 16 races in total. And Yesterday, for race 1 of the weekend, we saw an excellent battle, which finally saw Michael Ammermuller taking the win from Julian Andlauer and Dylan Pereira, making it a BWT Lechner 1, 2, 3 on the grid, on the podium. What was even more significant, though, was Larry Ten Voorde, who was running in P2, was adjudged to have jumped the start and ended up being penalised and having to take a 5-second penalty, which relegated him down into P4. And in so doing, he lost his championship lead, the lead that looked almost unassailable at the beginning of the season when he had that run of just non-stop victories and podium finishes. Our new points leader, Julian Andlauer. Yes, the driver who finished second yesterday is now at the top of the point standings with a slim 4.5-point lead over Larry Ten Voorde, who drops down to second, and Mikael Ammermuller, our pole sitter today, who is behind Larry Ten Voorde in the points with 125.5 points. As you can see, the grid is lined up, and Mikael Ammermuller is the man who starts on pole position, with points leader Julian Andlauer alongside, and local man Jaap van Lagen and Larry Ten Voorde on row 2. Both of those drivers are local, and Jaap van Lagen showing some excellent pace yesterday, but getting involved in a number of incidents and ending up finishing well down the order. A 11th place, should I say, in yesterday's race was all he had to show for it. And that does not reflect the level of pace that he had. As you can see, the cars are starting on their formation lap on this wonderful circuit that is 4.3 kilometres around with 14 turns, 10 to the right and 4 to the left. Very few overtaking opportunities on this track, it has to be said, and the best one is probably into turn 1, the Tarzanbocht, which is a slight uphill but heavily banked corner, which means that drivers can carry a lot of speed in onto the outside line and overtake around the outside. Let's have a look at the starting grid then. As we said, Ammermuller and Andlauer making a BWT Lechner front row with the two local guys, Jaap van Lagen and Larry Ten Voorde on row 2. Dylan Pereira and Jean-Baptiste Simonau's had a bit of a rubbish weekend so far, looking better from there. Igor Veliko and Luca Rettenbacher on row 4, with Rudy Van Buren making his debut alongside David Kolkman. Row 6 features Jackson Evans, the young rookie, alongside Berke Besler, and Tim Zimmerman and Sandro Kaibach occupying row 7. Leon Kohler doing well, and Tony Wolff on row 8, with the young Irish Rhys Barr alongside Yanis Fitchi on row 9. Gustav Mallier and Nicolas Skoll are on row 10, with Louis Henkefend and Stefan Raykopf on row 11. Row 12 featuring Carlos Rivas and Lucas Ertl, and row 13 featuring Alex Arkin-Acker, slightly further up the grid than he has been before, and Matthias Jeserik. 27th on the grid, and row 14, Georgi Donchev alongside Andreas Czepanski, with Christian Voigtlander, Richard Wagner, and then finally, bringing up the rear, Henrik Skoog, who's just had a wretched day yesterday, was visually very upset by his own performances and will be looking to make as much progress as he can, but from the back of the grid, that is going to be no mean feat. Weather conditions, well, the wind has dropped a bit after yesterday's very, very strong winds. They dropped a little. We've had a number of showers already today, and we had a fairly hefty shower just before the cars came to the grid for this race. But the track appears to have dried out now, and we'll be keeping one eye on the clouds to see whether we get any more rain showers during this race. So those vital few moments as the drivers look to get heat into the tyres and into the brakes, ready for the start of this 17-lap race. It's race 2 of the Porsche Carrera Cup here at Circuit Park in Zandvoort. It's a BWT Lechner front row. It's a local Dutch second row. And then Another batch of BWT Lechner drivers on the third row. Bit of a sandwich. Silence falls on the grid. And all eyes now looking ahead. The man with the green flag says, yep, everything's looking good back here. We're waiting for 5 red lights to go out. The 5 red lights are on and they are off. The cars are rolling. And as the Porsche Carrera Cup pulls away, it's Mikael Ammermuller who steps off into the lead from his pole position. A great start from him. And Jaap van Lagen, it looks like, who steps up into P2. So BWT Lechner cars in the lead. All the cars come streaming round the first corner and into the first series of bends. Lots of dust on the racing line. There's one car, they're just getting out of line, but they all make it through. And we are racing here in Zandvoort. How good do these cars look? Round turn 5, 6 and 7 up towards turn 8. A really, really difficult corner. But it's Mikael Ammermuller who holds off Jaap van Lagen, with Julian Andlauer and Larry ten Voorde following him. Looks like Dylan Pereira has made it through into P5. There's jostling and changing for places there further down the grid, and you can see water on the lens of the camera, and you can see the tracks looking very damp on that side of the track, so we could be in for some wet racing conditions as Jaap van Lagen makes a move for the lead, racing alongside Mikael Ammermuller. Mikael Ammermuller just holding on to the racing line, but Jaap van Lagen, he was a little bit forceful yesterday, ended up in all sorts of trouble, but trying again today. Can he do anything on the outside? I don't think so, and in so doing, also almost letting Julian Andlauer through. So, looking ahead from Jaap van Lagen, we can see the back of the Mikael Ammermuller car as they complete lap 1 and come round on the start-finish line through to Tarzanbocht, the first corner that is banked, and create some great overtaking opportunities. So all the cars have survived lap 1. They stream around in a big snake. It's a BWT Lechner sandwich at the front with Jaap van Lagen creating the filling. The cars continue. Jaap van Lagen looking very, very racy and quite eager to show in front of his home fans. And he's a driver along with Larry ten Voorde who knows his way round this Zandvoort circuit very well indeed. So the cars continue on their way. Pressure on the leader there, immense pressure. So level these cars are, and very, very difficult to find a route past. You can see the damp patches on the track, and those are going to be so easy to catch a driver out. You can still see it's that's end of the circuit, the back part of the circuit, where there's water on the camera lens, and a challenge. Jean-Baptiste Simonauer with Luca Rettenbacher looking on the inside of him. Rettenbacher on the move forwards, but Jean-Baptiste Simonauer and the 93 car Jackson Evans, who's made a great start but bouncing across the curbs there. Jackson Evans just holding on to it, and following Luca Rettenbacher. Jean-Baptiste Simonauer has had a bit of a wretched weekend so far and a really topsy-turvy year so far. There's a car there with a lot of smoke coming from it. That looks like tyre smoke, and there's one on its roof. Oh my goodness, we have a car that has rolled over. Well, this is most certainly going to cause a safety car or probably even a red flag. This is a major incident. So on lap 3, a car that has rolled over and is on its roof. I can't see who that is, but the yellow flags are out. The safety car is out. This may easily. It's the 44 car of Sandro Kaibach, and pleased to see that Kaibach is out of the car. And not often that you see a Porsche 911 on its roof. How on earth did he get that over there? Red flag, as we thought might happen. The race has been stopped. Very pleased to see that Sandro Kaibach is okay. You see all sorts of fluids pouring from the car there. Be very interested to see how that got over there. The pre-coat Porsche 911 and Sandra Kaibach, understandably shaken, but very pleased to see that he's okay, just getting his breath back. And oh my goodness, what a big incident that was. So lap 2, well, 2 laps completed. We were on to lap 3. The cars are going to be brought round to a stop. As you can see, the fence is quite badly damaged there as well, so we're going to need to take some time out to repair that. And Kaibach just shaking his head in disbelief. What on earth happened there? Jumping back onto the scene, yeah, he's fine. That is great news. Not often you get to see the underside of a Porsche 911, is it? So, we wait the replay, see what happened there. Just being checked over by the crew at the side of the track, who do a wonderful job. And we see the rest of the cars just coming through, just going to stay low as the efforts to roll that car back onto its wheels. Larry Tenvorda there was just looking forwards and then looking back from his car. So let's have a replay. Oh, Sandra Kaibach is on the outside of another car, just rides up their tyre wall. That proper wall of death. That's a cracking accident, that is. 10 out of 10. A lot of smoke and a lot of damage. You can see the tyre barrier took a bit of a beating there as well. I didn't see who that was. Oh, it was Leon Kohler. So we can see Kohler going to the inside. No, it's onto the outside, coming into that corner, and then onto the inside. Kohler quite close to the curbs there. They're going out wide onto the racing line. And behind us, all hell is breaking loose, I should think. And bang! Whoa! That is quite an impact. Gosh. Really pleased to see that everyone's all right there. Well, this is what it looked like from Lucas Ertl, who looks like he probably collected one of the tyres from the tyre barrier. And so good to see Sandro Kaibach okay. Car's built to tremendous levels of safety. A lot of fluid on the track that's got to be cleared up, as if the surface wasn't slippery enough already. We can see them just putting dust on. There would have been oil and water and goodness knows what else I expect mixed in there, so that's going to be quite slippery. Red flags out. The incident between Kohler and Kaibach has been flagged by race control, so that'll be investigated a little bit later on. I don't know whether, well, I'm guessing that Leon Kohler came out of that pretty well unscathed, I think. Just looking, and he's showing in P14 on our timing screens. So just a question of whether the stewards judge him to have been the cause of that incident or not. So the clean-up operation starts, and we had this yesterday in the ADAC TCR race where the fence was damaged by a car colliding with it. And the track staff here at Circuit Park in Zandvoort have been excellent in getting things together very, very quickly and bringing replacement tyre walls in. You can see the forklift truck in the background there, the big yellow digger, and just rearranging the tyre wall. And they had a whole load of these tyre walls. So I'm just looking at a bit of a conference going on there amongst the Orange Army, the amazing marshals from around the circuit. Yeah, they have a stock of these tyre walls that are ready to go and stitched together And yesterday, the forklift just nipped round, picked one up and put it into position. And there we can see that's the steward's room. They've had a busy, busy weekend. And they've got a lot to sort out there. So they're going to be looking at that incident and deciding whether there's any blame to be apportioned, whether there's any penalties. The damaged Sandro Kaibach car on the back of the low loader. And I have to say that I would say not looking too badly damaged. I mean, it's pretty wrecked, but it could be worse for a car that's been on its roof. So that car will be cleared away, taken down to Parc Fermé. And you still hear the wind. You can still see it in the jacket of the marshals on the truck. The wind is still quite strong here today. A lot of dust been blowing onto the circuit over this weekend from the sand dunes around the outside of this circuit park. There's the BWT Lechner team looking on. And a little wave from Huber Racing as well. So work continues to get the track cleaned up. Very efficient here, and one of the characteristics of this track is the fact that these are really significant and deep gravel traps really do work effectively. But once a car gets into the gravel track, quite often a safety car has to be brought out to retrieve the car from it. And it does mean that the circuit staff here are very good at dealing with stoppages and delays and cleaning up, and they have really worked their hind legs off over this weekend with numerous safety cars. In fact, every race bar one that we've had over this weekend has seen a safety car at some point or the other. Here's a replay of that accident. What a big impact that was, straight up the wall. And Sandro Kaibach really with nowhere to go. And a big plume of smoke. I'm guessing that's engine smoke as opposed to any kind of burning. And looks like, is that Richard Wagner who stopped behind? Not sure who that was. I think it might have been. On board again with Leon Kohler. You can see he's got a clear run on the outside of Sandro Kaibach. Sandro Kaibach comes back at him, holding on to that outside. Leo Kohler holding on there, but then follows the racing line out with Kaibach on his outside. Now, looking back from Kohler, you can see there's a bit of an impact just before Kaibach darts off to the side. You just see that slight bump. And you can see the view from Lucas Ertl as the tyre barrier and bits of car. Very high drama indeed. And the always welcome picture of the driver walking away uninjured. So the HRT Motorsport team looking on very concerned. They've got a bit of work to do before the next round at Nürburgring, which is in fact next weekend. Part of a back-to-back weekend, a double-header for both the ADAC series that are running and the Porsche Carrera Cup. So race 2 today and then legging it up the road to Nürburgring for Saturday and Sunday of next weekend, where we will see these drivers back in action again. And what entertainment they are proving to have and showing us over these last few weeks. We had them at the Norris Ring just a few weeks ago, and that was pretty dramatic as well. Norris Ring always manages to throw up exciting racing, though, just by the nature of that circuit. So, as we wait, the cars are reformed back on the grid, and very, very shortly we will be racing again just before the stoppage, we saw Jackson Evans in the 93 car. He's currently lying in P9, and he's currently our leading rookie driver. Leon Kohler, who we were riding on board with and who was involved in that incident, currently lying in P2 in the rookie championship. But Jackson Evans really impressing. Leon Kohler celebrated his birthday last week. I think it was Thursday the 7th. I was just doing my paperwork ready for this weekend, and I noticed that 3 of the Porsche drivers had their birthday on the 7th of August. That was Nicolas Skoll, who's our youngest driver in the field, and he turned 18 on the 7th, which was this week just gone, as did Leon Kohler, who turned 20, and Alex Arkanaka, who turned 19. So all 3 of those birthdays on the same day, so happy birthday to them for last week. And if you're born on the 7th of August, maybe you're being called to be a Porsche Carrera driver, eh? So the repairs are ongoing. That's the aforementioned Richard Wagner car. I don't know why he's parked up there. Is he in discussions? And there's Jaap van Lagen, who, by the looks of things, may have jumped ahead of Mikael Ammermuller for the lead. That seemed like such a long time ago that we were watching them battling. So Jaap van Lagen, local drivers are here enjoying his home race, and has really been showing some good pace. The 5-minute board there, so 5 minutes before we get this race back underway again. Yeah, Jaap van Lagen, who yesterday was showing some excellent pace and really showing his local knowledge, has had a kind of a fairly up and down year so far. One podium, a second at Hockenheim in the opening round, alongside a disqualification. Being in kind of putting in 7th, 5th, 10th, 9th, that kind of area. So it would be nice to see him on the top step of the podium. Now, I'm just wondering why the Wagner car, I believe it was Wagner who stopped as part of the incident involving Sandro Kaibach. So I'm not entirely sure what they're going to do with him, but I dare say we will find out very, very shortly. Got about another couple of minutes before the race resumes, and it'll start behind the safety car before receiving the green flag. Just final repairs being done to the fence. Top job from these marshals. They have been out in all weathers. We've had such strong winds this weekend, so strong that on top of the dunes it was actually hard to even stand up. And torrential thundery rain as well, on and off. And without these people, we couldn't go racing. So we are eternally grateful to them as the final part of the fence is reassembled. It looks quite basic, having barriers made of tyres, but it's so effective. We can hear a car circulating. Guessing that's probably the Richard Wagner car. And he'll be, no doubt, taking his place at the back of the grid. So, of the movers in that, Henrik Skoog, who started stone last, had made his way up to P26, trying to make up for yesterday's traumas. Ivan Veliko, who is currently showing in P6, so he made up a place at the start at the expense of Jean-Baptiste Simonauer. And Jean-Baptiste Simonauer definitely having an up and down season, has shown so much potential, but so far the only significant result was probably a P4 at the Norris Ring last time out. And this is as good an opportunity as any for him to show himself. Looking back there at Jaap van Lagen. So yes, Jean-Baptiste Simonauer, who is one of the many BWT Lechner racing cars. Definitely high expectations from him, and he was understandably frustrated. He just can't seem to go forwards. There's our ex-points leader. Whoever thought that by mid-season, Larry ten Voorde would not be at the top of the points, but he has had a poor run after a start to the year which saw him take 4 victories out of 5 races and 1 P2 and then a P4 after that. He's then gone on to have a non-finish, or 2 non-finishes in fact, at Norris Ring, and then received a penalty yesterday for jumping the start, which saw him finish second on the road but put back to P4. And all of that has allowed Julian Andlauer to leapfrog him in the points. And Larry ten Voorde, who currently is in P4 on the track in this race, has got it all to do again. He's also got Mikael Ammermuller, our current leader, or P2, who is running in P3 in the points. There's the crowd. Lovely dancing. Trying to keep warm. Actually, it's not that cold. It is just breezy. But fortunately, not quite as windy as it was yesterday. And one of the issues has been the sand from the dunes just blowing onto the track, creating a slippery surface. And off the racing line, there is very little traction to be had. And you can see how banked that Turn 1 is. The Tarzanbocht, so called, named after a local whose nickname was Tarzan, apparently. And when the circuit was being built, he only agreed that he would sell his vegetable patch if they agreed to name a corner after him. So that is what folklore tells us. Right, we're on the move. Safety car is rolling. The cars will fall into single file behind. 1 lap behind the safety car. And then we should be ready to get back racing. 3 laps now showing on the board as completed. And Jaap van Lagen is in P2, even though when they were lined up on the grid, looked like he was P1. But yeah, as we thought, it is still Mikael Ammermuller who leads this field around, with Julian Andlauer in second, Larry ten Voorde, Dylan Pereira and Ivo Valiko in the number 37 car. Igor, should I say, Valiko in P6. Jean-Baptiste Simonauer, P7. Luca Rettenbacher in P8. Jackson Evans. And then Berke Besler bringing out the top 10. So the cars have been sat, cooling down. Now time to get heat back into those tyres, back into those brakes, ready for us to carry on with the racing. 3 laps are completed for the Porsche Carrera Cup. Race 2 here at Circuit Park in Zandvoort. So a time limit has been put onto the race. Originally it was flagged as 17 laps, and you can see from the clock now that it's now a timed race as a result of that red flag. So 13, just under 13 and a half minutes left of this race. Still plenty of time for plenty more action. You can see the big snake cars in the distance there. A great shot, and you can just see how this track is nestled in amongst the sand dunes. Wonderful area that we're in. Just a few miles away from Amsterdam, about 20 kilometers out from Amsterdam. And a circuit with great history, as we see Mikael Ammermuller just putting some more heat into those tyres. And he is now the de facto safety car. When he wants to go, he can go. There can be no overtaking before the safety car line. He's hit the throttle. trying hard to get Jaap van Lagen and catch him napping. And here he comes out of the Arie Luijendijk corner onto the home straight, and the green flag is once again waving, but Jaap van Lagen already looking very, very eager. We see the cars fanning out behind, but eyes on the front as Jaap van Lagen really putting the pressure onto Mikael Ammermuller, already looking for a win at his home track. Julian Andlauer in P3 and Larry ten Voorde in P4 just ready to jump just as soon as any kind of gap appears. Around the windy sections of turns 4, then flat out through turn 5 and 6 and 7, up towards a difficult turn 8. And once again, you can see the bumps in the track as the cars are bouncing around over it. And Larry ten Voorde taking a look on the inside of Julian Andlauer. Great move, great move. That's and they make contact, Andlauer onto the grass. Now it'll be interesting to see if the stewards have anything to say about that. Larry ten Voorde appearing to help Julian Andlauer onto the grass, and now Dylan Pereira looking to take advantage of Larry ten Voorde having to lift off for a bit. Also in there, Igor Veliko. So the battle for P3 really hotting up. It's Larry ten Voorde at the moment. The question is, will he pick up a penalty? As the 92 car of Luca Rettenbacher looks to the inside of Jean-Baptiste Simonauer. Jean-Baptiste Simonauer being as defensive as he possibly can, but Luca Rettenbacher looking very, very eager as he picks up some dirt coming out of the final turn. On to the outside is Veliko having a look. Also, Jean-Baptiste Simonauer and Julian Andlauer. So Andlauer has dropped right back and is now just ahead of Luca Rettenbacher. So Andlauer really struggling following that contact with Larry ten Voorde. And of course, these are the two drivers that are currently 1 and 2 in the points championship. So they really have all to play for. And as we expected, this incident is under investigation from the race stewards. We can see Larry ten Voorde goes to the inside and looks like he just spears off slightly into Julian Andlauer. Looking back at that now, and that's just very unusual. I can't believe that it would have been deliberate. But Andlauer just being forced. Did Andlauer turn into him, or really tricky one to call that? And we can see that Andlauer did very well to not end up buried into the tyre wall. Looking at the Dylan Pereira car, looking back. But our leader, Mikael Ammermuller, Jaap van Lagen and Larry ten Voorde. We keep an eye on the screens to see if there are going to be any penalties. Dylan Pereira doing really well up into P4 with Igor Veliko in P5. Jean-Baptiste Simonauer trying to make amends for a very difficult weekend is behind him. Ammermuller coming under a lot of pressure from Jaap van Lagen now. We can see the smoking brakes. Was that from the Jackson Evans car as he looks on the inside of Luca Rettenbacher? Jackson Evans really impressing in this, his debut season in the Porsche Carrera Cup. And of course, he has the rookie championship that he is working hard to stay at the top of. 8.5 minutes left of this race. Still lots of battles going on right the way through the field. Still no news on whether there'll be any action taken with the Larry ten Voorde incident. We can see that Jackson Evans is quicker than Luca Rettenbacher. And there he is, Jackson Evans in the red, black and white car. Luca Rettenbacher just in front of him. And then behind them, the two BWT Lechner cars of Jean-Baptiste Simonauer and Julian Andlauer. So that's your leader. Jaap van Lagen has been known to be a little bit lively when trying to make a place up. and he really is glued to the back bumper of Mikael Ammermuller, and I can't believe that he's going to settle for P2. I think Jaap van Lagen very much of the mentality of win it or bin it, I think, and he really does want to take the victory in front of his home crowd. Larry ten Voorde, the local boy as well, so it's a local 2 and 3 using the experience of this very unusual banked and cambered track to their advantage. But Mikael Ammermuller holding on to that lead. It's a bit of a gap now as the front 7 or 8 cars just break away from the rest of the pack. And that front 5 in particular, you've got the first 3 of Ammermuller, Jaap van Lagen and Larry ten Voorde. Then Dylan Pereira and Igor Veliko. And then a gap back to Jean-Baptiste Simonauer and Julian Andlauer and Luca Rettenbacher and Jackson Evans. So those are the main battles that we've got our eye on. Lap times are very, very similar. The person who looks to be on a move is very much Dylan Pereira, actually, who's been putting in some very, very quick lap times, as has Larry ten Voorde. But the difference between them is not great. And Jaap van Lagen, once again, we're riding on board with him. We can see what his view is. And a track that is so difficult to overtake as this one is, the local knowledge could easily come into good use here. It really is the home straight into turn 1 which creates the best opportunity because there is a racing line both on the inside and the outside due to the banking of the Tarzanbocht turn. And as they go down the home straight, has Jaap van Lagen got anything? No, these cars are so even. There is literally just fractions of a second separating them in performance, and making a move past really on the track such as this requires the driver in front to make some kind of mistake. Riding on board with Leon Kohler. And looking back from him as well, that's the Rudy Van Buren car, and he's doing very well in his debut here this weekend. Through the flat out section and up towards turn 8. The unforgiving gravel trap on the outside, waiting to snatch anybody who makes any kind of mistake. And Leon Kohler looking at David Kolkman in front of him. To the inside. Kolkman shutting the door. Jackson Evans is still the leading rookie. You see him there just coming through in the picture. And Berke Besler, who's behind Jackson Evans, is our second place rookie, as we see more overtaking just towards the back. That group of cars just having broken away. 4 minutes left in this race. It's still all to play for. We've got a replay here of Leon Kohler looking to the inside of the number 5 car, and he makes it through. He makes that stick. So David Kolkman relegated down into P12, and that's, oh dear, another bad day for Richard Wagner. He really has had a bit of a traumatic weekend, and once again he's into the gravel trap. Now I have a feeling this could bring out a safety car. It is in a slightly less vulnerable position. The question is, with less than 3.5 minutes left of this race, will there be a safety car? We look at the 66 car of Andrzej Szczepanski. And he is under pressure from the number 7 car of Giorgio Donchev. And that's a car into the pit lane. That's Carlos Rivas. I can only guess that must be a mechanical issue as Carlos Rivas comes into retirement. Car's up on the jacks. and there doesn't look to be any urgency to get him back out on track. So, looks like the Carlos Rivas car is done for the day into the pit lane. And the Black Falcon team Techstar look on. Lots of discussions are had. So, we'd like to see back out on track now, because there's lots of racing going on. You can hear it in the background. Just having a look, and Rivas. Oh, it looks like he had a bit of contact. And was that from Wagner? I think it was, you know. The 87 car, Richard Wagner. So, Carlos Rivas, it looks as though he may... And we have got a safety car out, as we thought might be the case for Richard Wagner. And we can see the two cars got together. So Carlos Rivas and Richard Wagner got together. And Wagner, in his efforts to turn it around, has buried the car in the gravel trap, bringing out a safety car. So, that gives Mikael Ammermuller a bit of breathing room from the Jaap van Lagen. But it does mean that Jaap van Lagen will be right on his tail if, and it's a big if, this race gets restarted. The question is, will it get restarted? Because we have less than a minute left. And unless the race stewards decide to add some extra time, I can see this race finishing behind the safety car. And I'm sure Mikael Ammermuller would be very happy for that. So, still trying to keep heat into the tyres and into the brakes. We wait for the clock to tick down, and we shall see what happens. An eventful race 2 for the Porsche Carrera Cup. The incident between 87 Richard Wagner and the car 6 of Carlos Rivas will be investigated after the race. The clock has struck 0. So, it seems very likely that this race is going to finish. And yes, it does. The checkered flag goes up. It's Mikael Ammermuller who claims race 2 of the Porsche Carrera Cup here at Circuit Park in Zandvoort, under some fairly controversial circumstances, with Jaap van Lagen in P2 and Larry ten Voorde in P3. Now, the other question is, of course, will Larry ten Voorde receive any kind of penalty for the contact that he had with Julian Andlauer earlier on in the race? At the moment, we have heard nothing. It would be a bit tragic for Larry ten Voorde to lose a podium position twice in one weekend in the steward's box. No doubt about the winner, though, Mikael Ammermuller. And that will do his point standing no harm whatsoever. He was in P3. And he may well improve on that once all is said and done. And Jaap van Lagen will be very frustrated, because I think he really had eyes on winning this race, his home race. The wind blows. It's Mikael Ammermuller, Jaap van Lagen from Larry ten Voorde, Dylan Pereira, Igor Veliko, Jean-Baptiste Simonauer, reasonable P6 from Julian Andlauer, who recovered to P7 from Luca Rettenbacher. So that's our positions 1 to 8. 9 is Jackson Evans, doing really well again. Berke Besler, Leon Kohler, then David Kolkman, Rudy Van Buren also showing well, with Tim Zimmerman, Tony Wolff and Janis Vice bringing out the top 16. Gustav Mallier, Nicolas Scholl, Reese Barr doing well to 19, as is Louis Henkefend. Henrik Skoog from the back of the grid, 21st, not bad. And Lucas Ertel with Stefan Raykop, Alex Arkin-Acker Matthias Jezerik, Andreas Szczepanski, Georgia Donches bringing out the remaining places. And we can see the Richard Wagner car now being lifted from the circuit. There is our P3 man, Larry Ten Voorde, for Overdrive Racing by Huber. Looks like he's going to get step 3 on the podium. See the trophies on his roof, indicating how many wins he's had this year. Yes, that's 4. P2, the local man, Jaap van Lagen for Force Racing. Look at all the tyre damage on the side of the car. Whoever said that rubbing wasn't racing? And there's your winner, Mikael Ammermuller. Number 1 is number 1. Racing for BWT Lechner. A good day at the office for Mikael Ammermuller to go with his win from yesterday. It's a clean sweep at Circuit Park in Zandvoort. So, Carlos Rivas coming up towards the start-finish line. I think he just wants to get across the start-finish line. Come on, you can do it. Push. The car is not going any further. You can hear the crowd cheering. And he's desperate to get it across the start-finish line. Maybe he should get out and push. He wants to record a finish. He's actually completed 10 laps of the 11. And he has just come short by, I don't know, was that about 10, 12 inches? And Carlos Rivas. You can hear the crowd cheering him on. Oh, dear. We do not want it unclassified. Brilliant stuff. So Carlos Rivas is, of course, our leading amateur driver. And having been caught up in that incident, is he really a few inches? Maybe they're going to tow him across the line. You can hear the crowd cheering him. Absolutely brilliant. So, go on, Carlos. Yes! Pure entertainment. That's what we like. So, Carlos Rivas, the driver from Luxembourg, is towed back to the pit lane. There's your winner, Mikael Ammermuller. Walter Lechner, first on the scene to say well done. And handshakes from the BWT Lechner team. BWT Lechner really, once again, flexing their muscles here and showing their might. Their drivers just peppered throughout the results tables. Healthy crowd here today. Pretty packed out all around Circuit Park Zandvoort. As many locals and many travellers come here to witness the first of this double-header weekend. And we're at the halfway point of the double-header weekend. The cars will be whisked off to Nürburgring, ready for more of the same. So silence falls while we just wait for the podium presentations. And you can see it, so although the wind has died down significantly since yesterday. You can just see it still blowing around. So, just completing a few interviews, and then we will be on the podium for the celebrations. And there we are. There are the drivers getting ready. There's Burkhard on the microphone, getting ready to introduce them onto the podium. So, Mikael Ammermuller, your race winner, takes top step of the podium. Jaap van Lagen in P2. And Larry ten Voorde holds on to P3. National anthem time. So that's the national anthem done. Now for trophy presentations. Great trophy. Mikael Ammermuller, what a perfect weekend he's had. 2 races, 2 wins. P2, the local man, Jaap van Lagen. P3, the other local man, Larry ten Voorde. And BWT Lechner picking up trophy for the winning team. So there's the points. Julian Andlauer at the top. Mikael Ammermuller jumps up to P2, Larry ten Voorde down to P3, but only by half a point. So really, really tight at the top of the points. My goodness, that's going to be something worth watching when we get to Nürburgring, isn't it? Champagne fight. The champagne fight's over. You can go now. Oh, this is just victimization. This is... Just feel like it's all pointed at one direction, really, doesn't it? Good, cheers. Thanks. Porsche Carrera Cup, thank you for entertaining us this weekend, and you really have. It's been a race with lots of highs, lots of lows, lots of drama. There's going to be more. Why not join us at Nürburgring next weekend? The battle continues. We'll see you then.